Check it out, the anthropomorphic antics of funny fauna. That means animals. And this is an egg. No, it's not. Hi, I'm Darren, these are my hands, and this is Pacific Comics' Wild Animals #1, a one-shot from 1982 by Scott Shaw with an exclamation point. You may have seen me unbox this comic recently when friend of the channel Loran sent in some really good comics. I had seen Wild Animals before, not in person, but I'd seen it on lists, I've seen pictures, and I kind of knew maybe a little bit about it, but I really didn't know too much about it. So today, we're going to take a close look at this comic and find out what it's all about. First off, who is this Scott Shaw? Well, Scott Shaw is an illustrator, an animator, a cartoonist, an advertiser, and a historian. He's been involved in things like Hanna-Barbera, the Smurfs, the Snorks, Garfield, and apparently he's even a co-founder of the San Diego Comic-Con. But then again, so is everybody, I think. But don't take my word for it. What we should really be doing is looking at some hard-hitting journalistic enterprises. Got that covered too. Scott Shaw survives UFO crashes, and he's a friend of the Loch Ness Monster. Don't believe me? Let's look inside the Weekly World News. See, here's Scott cavorting with aliens and Bigfoot. Actually, he's just a good friend and a colleague of Sergio Aragonés, and Sergio would often draw him in his weird picture searches in the Weekly World News in the early 2000s. Oh, and of course we can't forget Destroyer Duck #1. We were only here a few weeks ago. Great Moments in Comic Book History #2, drawn by Joe Stanton and Scott Shaw, with an exclamation point. It's almost as if these guys are all connected somehow. Another thing that I discovered when I was just looking up Scott Shaw on the internet was his comic Captain Carrot and the Amazing Zoo Crew. How come I didn't know about this before? This seems to be something that would be right up my alley, and I'm going to have to keep my eyes looking out for these comics. They look great, they look funny, and they look really well drawn. But let's take a look at this comic today, Wild Animals, issue #1 by Pacific Comics, featuring the return of U-All Gibbon, the junk food monkey. Now, two things that really stand out to me in the cover of this comic, and the first thing is, take a look at the background here. It's like a painting. It's not a drawing, it's, dare I say, artistic? Of course not. Scott's comic book work in general is very artistic, but I love how the background, the houses, the telephone poles, this apartment building type thing, the car, there are no outlines to it. It looks like it's all just painted in, and it just makes that cover look so cool. It's really unique. Bus stop. I think that's supposed to say Quackville Rapid Transit District. And all these guys, all these anthropomorphic animals. It's like the Incredible Pig Hulk, Minotaur Moose with a mace. Makes sense. Some sort of space frog. Really buff-looking duck over here. They're all saying, huh, well, there goes the neighborhood because this guy arrived on the scene. And what is going on with this guy? What kind of animal is this? He's got the neck of a giraffe. He's got the trunk of an elephant. He's got, is that the horns of a water buffalo? I'm not sure. The bottom part of the body of a duck with maybe duck legs and flippers, but with claws on the end, with a platypus or a beaver tail coming out the back, and regular old arms and hands. I have no idea what this guy is. Puffing on a cigar, it looks like. What a crazy looking dude. Sioux City. Duckburg. What does that say? Got to bring it up to my old man eyes. Maybe it says Zany Town? I don't know. It's pretty crazy. And it's a great cover. So Wild Animals is edited by Scott Shaw, and the colorist is everybody's favorite Gordon Kent. Again, I tell you, they're all connected somehow. Now, I'm not going to read you the story of Usagi Gibbon, but we're going to take a little bit of a look at the art, and I can't help but read this first panel here. We last left our primate protagonist, Usagi Gibbon, in a somewhat uncharacteristic condition. He was speechless, and there's an asterisk that says, see quack number 3. Now, this could be just a funny joke. Maybe there is no quack number 3. But I had to look it up. And there is a quack number 3. Quack Comics. How come nobody told me about Quack Comics? This story continues from the Usagi Gibbon story in Quack number 3, Pigfoot, the Awful Boar from 1977. And that, of course, is connected to Quack number 2, another Usagi Gibbon story there, and a Sergio Aragonés story. What's going on? Now that I see this cover, I recognize it. Okay, another thing on the list of things to get. And let's make things even worse. Quack number 1 with a Mark Evanier contribution. I tell you, they're all connected somehow. This guy kind of reminds me of John Denver. It's great looking art. The story is called The Land That Time Ignored, presenting the long-awaited conclusion of the, I don't even know how to say that word, Garrulous Gourmand's Greatest Adventure by Scott Shaw, with an exclamation point. Story, pencils, and editing, Gordon Kent Colors. And then it also says that Shaw and R. Lester inked this thing. Copyright 1982 by Scott Shaw, with an exclamation point. Originally scripted and penciled in 1978, and that would go back to Quack Comics number 3, which was published in 77. This was ready right after that. But take a look at this. This is absolutely gorgeous art. I love the cartoony look of these characters. I really like how Scott Shaw keeps the speech balloons almost geometric. It's absolutely beautiful. Of course, Gordon Kent does a great job of coloring, but the line work is just so great. I love it. Like the thick, the thin. This is a nicely drawn comic, and Pacific, you did a great job of printing this comic. Everything is just lined up so nicely. Colors, lines. Oh, it's great. How dare you antagonize one of my loyal subjects? Halt, or suffer the wrath of Lord Lizard. Holy cow! Man, this stuff just looks great. Like, take a look at this. Look at all of the black inks behind it. The thick edges here just makes this pig guard with the axe just pop. Man alive, I have nothing but good things to say about the look of this comic. And they're all so cartoony, so funny looking. Beautiful stuff. Look at the size of this one, eh? Wow. Gordon, you did a great job of coloring that. Like, you can really see the metallic sheen on whatever that robot ape thing is. It's great. And then after the conclusion, the end of this Usagi Gibbon story, we've got Clark the Collector and No Luck Duck by George Erling. It's got more of a underground comics kind of vibe to it. Still looks really nice. Lackluster Lizard. You know, these are things that I'd be very happy to have been reading in like my university newspaper. Looking really good. Hey, is that a duck suit? Is that Daisy Duck? And of course, look at this. It's that Groo ad. And that is the answer to the question of why do all these Groo collectors collect wild animals? Yeah, okay. I'll be right back. Might as well do the comparison, right? Well, there's not much to compare with the back cover of Star Slayer number 4, except for the fact that there's no blood on the tip of the sword here. Did I not notice that before? Let's take a look inside Star Slayer number 5. There we go. Oh, look at blood. No blood. Ah, and the way that the blood sweeps through the swash there is different than the way the blood sweeps through the swash there. purple hills in the background. Maybe more bluish-green hills in the background here. Very interesting. I think overall, I would have to say that I like the printing of the ad in Wild Animals better than I like it in Star Slayer. Maybe I've just got a better copy of the comic, or maybe they just did a better job printing this particular issue, but the colors are brighter. Let's take a look at like Groo's nose here. Things just seem a little bit sharper as far as the line work goes. Take a look at like the spots in the back of the dinosaur's back. Yeah, and in my eyes, this looks a lot better than this ad here. So, hey, I am happy to have Wild Animals, just so that I have the better copy of this ad. That's great stuff. Who knew we would be talking about that? White, yellow. All right, what's next in Wild Animals? Little fold there. Ah, yes, it's Bronte, Ducky Duckbill in Orange Sauce by Larry Gonick. I tell you, these people have a thing with ducks and duckbills. It's a story of love, perhaps unrequited love, mismatched love, maybe bringing your lover over for dinner. Look, it's an angry duck with a tongue sticking out of his mouth. He's a smart guy, this Ducky Duckbill, and he manages to sneak out of that situation. The Hairy Canary in Toys Will Be Toys by Jim Engel. He's a creep. Really do like the art here. Is he like an angry Tweety bird? Bungalow Bill by Jim Engel again. And, oh yes, maybe this is really why we're here. A short story by Sergio Aragonés. Settle in, kids. I'll tell you a tale. Many years ago, in some place on Earth, a baby was born into a family of gorillas. He had all the normal features of a healthy specimen, but as his contemporaries grew normally, he stayed short and was the subject of laughter and abuse. Whap! The years passed and he reached adulthood, but his height stayed the same. He was completely ignored. His love life was a fiasco, and as he tried to assert his position as a member of the tribe, he was abjectly rejected. Punt. Totally demoralized, and with his heart broken, he decided to leave in search of a more congenial place. And take a look at that. This is beautiful. I love the crepuscular rays. I love the hatching on the clouds and on the sea. Looks really nice. For days and days he drifted with the currents, until he discovered an island almost concealed by fog. High hopes for a new life gave him the strength that he had lost along with his desire to live. The first days were very happy. He ate, slept, and above all, nobody kicked him around. But loneliness and the inhospitality of the place proved too much for his fragile and already debilitated morale. Whack, whack, crunch. He decided to end it all, and as he was going to take the fatal plunge, distant drums reached him, arousing his curiosity. Again, that is beautiful looking art. I love that sunshine coming through the clouds. New smells mixed with the primitive sounds filled his spirits with new expectations. And the sight was, well, I don't have to tell you the rest of the story. You know it already. Aragonés, 1978. The Birth of King Kong. That's pretty cool. Some more Bungalow Bill, Crawford Crow, Wild Animal Editions #1. This is all really indie looking to me. Real late 70s, early 80s underground kind of comicsy kind of stuff. Looks great. And then on the back cover, we've got this. The Presidents of the United States, 1982, Rick Gary. I'm sure that this is very intelligent, satirical, and I'm Canadian, so I probably don't have the insights to get a lot of these jokes. But they're animals, and you're presidents, so it's probably funny. He's like a baboon. He's a manatee. I don't know what John Quincy Adams is, but he's got big eyes. Richard M. Nixon, the rat. Hey, even I can get that joke. Well, we should really be honest with ourselves. This time I've added Quack Comics and Captain Carrot and his amazing zoo crew to my reading list. I don't think we're ever going to make it to PC Groo number 1. Still, you're going to want to watch this video next for the rest of the pre-Groo story. Click over here to subscribe and do the other good things. And if you think you need more cartoon ducks and other wildlife, the algorithm says you should watch this. Take care, everyone.